Hello, welcome to Azure Kubernetes Deployment Series Part 20. In this series, we are going to learn how to deploy microservices into multiple environments using Azure's using Argo CD and Helm chart. In our previous lab, we have already discussed how to deploy using Argo CD and Helm chart into a single environment. If you remember, for that we have created an Argo CD application using manifest using the CRD application. But in this case, when we are going to use to deploy into multiple environments, for that we are going to use application set as a CRD. So in this case, as I discussed previously, in this case we are using um, a matrix. You can see. So as a generator, here we have two generators we are using. One is the repository, and the other one is the list. So the list, it mention the different environments what we are going to deploy, and the repository shows the manifest path. If we see here, I have mentioned multi-environment Helm chart. If we come here, this is my manifest folder, and under this I have the services. And if we expand one of these service, we can see I have defined multiple YAML files. This is the values.yaml file, and so each environment contains a values.yaml for its configuration. Okay, so if you see here, for dev environment, I have mentioned replica 1, and for test it is 2, and for prod it is 3. So we can change any parameter specific to that environment. Yeah, so that's all regarding this manifest as well as the Argo CD application. So in this case, since I'm using here a matrix as the generator, so matrix is nothing, it's a multiplication. Okay, so if you see here, my manifest file, it contains 5 deployments. Okay, config, order, product, rabbit message queue, and storefront. Okay, so 5 are there, and the environments are 3. So if you hear the matrix, that is nothing, it is a multiplication of these two. So 5 into 3, so it will create 15 deployments. Okay, but in this case we are not going to create 15 Argo CD application. So here there is only one Argo CD application, but internally it will create 15 Argo CD uh, application. In our previous lab, we saw for deploying it into a single environment. Since we have 5 services or 5 deployments here, so we have created 5 separate Argo CD application. But in this case, since we are using Argo CD, we are using application set as our CRD. So in this case, it will create. We are going to create only one uh, manifest for the Argo CD, and this will generate 15 deployments using the combination of the environments as well as the path of our manifest. Okay. Now, if we'll go to our infrastructure, I have already, like previous lab, I have already set up my cluster in Azure. So for that, I have already run this script. So this will create the Azure Content Registry and AKS cluster. Then I have logged in to that cluster using this get credentials. I have created alias to use kubectl as a shortcut, that is K. And then we need to, in our cluster, we need to deploy the Argo CD. So for that, I have created a namespace specific for Argo CD, and that name is I have mentioned here Argo CD. I have already deployed this using this. Then port forward it to access that using the local host. Then in order to log in, I have used this. I mean, to get the password, I have used this. So you see, it will provide the password for our to log in into the Argo CD server. So I have done all these steps. You can see, and the Argo CD server is running. Also, in setting, by going to repository, you can see I have already configured this one. You can see if you go this, you can select HTTPS, and you can provide the repository here and selected the project as default. So I have done that, and I'm now connecting to the repository Kubernetes Q8 K8 K8s 20 deployment. So that is nothing. This is the repository, and this is our source of truth. Okay, so in this, it contains our Argo CD application, that is under this one up, then under this, not, so this is development. We need to go to deployment, Kubernetes 20 deployment. Okay, so here if you can see here, I have this Argo CD applications, what I have already discussed here, same thing. Okay, so for this is the manifest file folder, and this one is our Argo CD application. Okay, so if any changes we are doing to this, to any of this manifest, so the Argo CD will pull that changes and deploy into the AKS cluster. Okay, so let's do the changes. We'll see manually first, then we'll run the pipeline, and we'll see how it is triggering. I mean, how it is creating a new image with the latest tag, build ID, and how it is deploying, uh, changing that image ID in the repository. I mean the uh, source of truth repository, so that the Argo CD again keep checking that repository. So when there is any change, it will pull that change and deploy into the cluster. Okay, but one thing here I'll just to mention here, if you go to any of these service, you can see here I have defined three variables here. Okay, sorry, values.com, and this values.com, you can see here the repository I have mentioned, my Docker hub. I have not updated till to my Azure Container Registry. We'll do later. Let deploy it manually first. We'll check whether it is working. Then I'll just update this path, and we run our pipeline so that the Argo CD should pick it from the ACR. Okay. So in order to do that, what we'll do is, in order to connect this, I mean apply this Argo CD application. This is our Argo CD application, multi-environment, multi-manifest offset. You can see here that I mentioned here. Now I'm going to apply this. Okay, and if you see, it is already connected to the repository Kubernetes 20 deployment. Sorry, I have mentioned here development, that is wrong. I need to delete this, disconnect. I need to connect to the deployment one, because that contains our manifest, Argo CD application manifest, as well as the service manifest. Okay, so in order to get that, I have to go to repository. This is deployment. Okay, let's take this path, come here and put this here. So that's all, nothing. We have to select HTTPS here. Now connect it. Now it is connected to the deployment. Okay, now the Argo CD server connected the source of truth repository, and we have already in that repository we have the Argo CD application. Now let just run this, or apply this um, Argo CD application using kubectl apply command. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, this path is okay. It is not necessary. We have to run in. I have to go to the deployment instead of dev, because that path is not there. We can see here. This is my path, Argo CD applications. So I need to run from here. Okay, so let's run it from. Okay, so now it is got created. If we'll now go to the Argo CD, and we can see now it is creating. Okay, if we come, since we have three environments we are using here, basically we are treating namespaces as environment. So we can see these are all got created. Okay, so it should be 15 here. Okay, for each of the environment, 5 into 3, there are 15 deployments. Okay, you can see here config dev, config prod, config test. Similarly, order dev, order prod, and order test. Okay, similarly product for 3 environments. Like that, it will be 15 deployments. Now if we go to the command line and try to get it right, you can see okay, get pod minus n dev, for example, alias k equal to. Now you see everything is running. If you go to test also, you can see here it is running. Two instances are there for this environment because we have mentioned in the values.yaml. Okay, so now you come to know that manually everything is working. We have not run our Azure pipeline. So but we need to test it by how we can automate using Azure pipeline, that we need to um, see here. Okay, so in order to change that one, what I can do is here, if you see, if you go to the repository, and here you can see I don't have any services here. Okay, there is nothing, but if you see my server is, this is my server path. I mean the Azure content registry path. Okay, so that I need to mention here. Okay, so how, what I have to do is, so I have to search. Let me go to the deployment. Okay, now let me just search wherever it's there, I'll just replace it. So this is the path, my, it is contains the path of my um, Docker hub. So this I need to change with the Azure content registry. This is my content registry path. Okay, and tag is v1. Let it be v1. Our pipeline will update with the latest tag here. Okay, that I'll explain how we can do that. Okay, similarly, just do this. Let me replace everywhere this. Let me update quickly everything because all are pointing to my Docker hub. Okay, so I have changed this one, but this v1 still is not available. So what we'll plan to going to see here is, if I run the pipeline, it will replace this tag with the build ID. Then we'll see, observe that whether Argo CD is picking that or not. Okay, so these changes, let me just push into the repository. Let commit it. Okay. So once we commit this, we are doing some changes, right? Now the Argo CD will not find this because we changed the path. So now whatever health it shows, right, again it will change automatically after some time. You can see that. It will take some time, but we'll observe later. So this will get changed. The health, it will become give error. Okay, so it is now updated. Now what we have to do, if you go to our development and repository here, I have already created the pipelines. These are the pipeline, and here if you go one of this is already we have just discussed, like it will create the um, Docker image and push into the Azure content registry. The next step is, what it will do is, we have in app templates we have created git repo update. Okay, so this, while um, the dev object git repo, that is another stage. I have created 3 stages, one for each of the environment, and there I'm just calling this template git repo update, and we are here, I'm passing the service name, the environment, and the image tag. Okay, and it will come here. So after coming here, it will change this one. Here you can see the values.yaml, and I have mentioned here parameters environment. So here it may be dev hyphen values.yaml, or it may be test hyphen values.yaml, or it may be our prod values.yaml. So depending upon the type of environment, it will pick that values.yaml and update the tag. Okay, and everything is same. It will clone that repository, then do these changes, then git do the git add and git commit and push it. Okay, so everything it will do. Okay, now let's go to this. It's not updated. Let's see. Okay, order. Now I see health is okay. Is there? It is correct. Setting repository correct. We have okay. We'll see that next. What we have to do, what we'll do is let me run this pipeline. Okay, so here you can see I have already created these pipelines. If you go to my all pipelines under Kubernetes 20, you can see these pipelines are already created. So I'll just run it one by one. Let me go to Rabbit message queue. Let me run this one as well. Let's just sync what is happening. We'll see. We'll see how what is happening. We'll just check. Now it is trying to sync. Now it will show error because it will not find the images that we have mentioned in the deployment files. Okay, now you can see our Git repository. This is the config now deployed into all the environments. Okay, Rabbit message queue also there. Now let's check it. Okay, let me run this one also. Order pipeline. So this order pipeline, it will try to create the image and it will push to the Azure content registry. We'll see that. So this pipeline will run for some time. I'll after some time, once it will get complete, then I'll come back and we'll discuss on this how it goes. Okay. Hello. Now the deployment for config order, rabbit message queue, and product, it's done, and the storefront it is going on. So if we now come and see, if you can see here for if I get the pod from dev environment, you can see all are running, but storefront still it is image pullback of its source because in it is in the repository still that is not updated. The image tag is not updated. If you can see here, that I'll show you again. Next, you just go to the test. Same thing here. If you for storefront, it is source image pull up. For prod also, it will be same. Okay. So that means it is not. Though the image is already built and pushed into the other content registry, the repository is not updated. You can see storefront is available. The tag is 657. It is already available in repository, but these stages are not run, so it is not updated into the repository. The tag it's not. So here, if you come and see in our deployment VS Code here, we can see for storefront, if you go to the values.com, you see it's still bn b1, and here it is b1. Let's see for order also it shows b1 because we have not synced it. Let me just sync it from the main branch. I'm just syncing it from the repository, so it's, yeah, you can see it is updated, right? For product it's updated 65 and test also updated. But if you see for storefront, it is still v1, right? It is not updated. That's why it is here also it shows image pool backup. And also if you can see in the Argo CD, we can see here for prod this storefront is degraded, it shows here. Now if we'll just see dev, it is degraded here for storefront. And for test, if you want to see for test, this is also degraded. Okay, so now what we can do, let just run this again. Let me permit this to access the library. It will take few seconds to update that in the repository. We can see it will, and the status will change. That we'll see. Yeah, it is done for this one. Now let me approve for this. Now if you go to VS Code and again I'll sync it. Now you can see here storefront. Here you can see here for dev still v1, right? Let me just sync it. You see 657 it updated because we have run the pipeline here. It's done. Now let me put this. If you come here and select dev, you can see whether it is updated or not. You can see the storefront, it is already synced here. And if you come and see the test environment, still it is there. We'll see it will update after some time. And also prod also it is not synced because still it is running. Yeah, it is done now. It will update automatically after some time. We'll see. And here if we see, go and see test, it is still, yeah, it is 657, and for prod it's b1. Now let me sync it. Yeah, it took, so everything is there. Now we'll see the pod status. See, everything is running now. Test, it is still image pool backup resource. It will take some time. Now it is also sys image pool backup. It will take, I think it is for 180 seconds, 3 minutes to resync it. Let us wait for that. Okay, now in order to test it, right, we can test the application for any of the environment. Let me, since dev is done, dev it is running everything, let me get sbc service minus and dev. Okay, get sbc minus and dev. Okay, now you can see here, this is the ip, I'll call it. You can see welcome to Argo CD, something is there. Okay, now what we'll do, I'll change this. And one thing also I'll do in my pipeline is I'll go to the environment, and in test environment, let me apply the add the approval here. Okay, so we'll go step by step, deploy step by step. Okay, next go to the prod environment as well. I'll add the approval again so that it will wait for the approval to deploy into that environment. Okay, now what I'll do, so we can see now it is welcome something. Let me go to the dev environment, and this is my application folder, storefront and index.html. Let me just remove this. Okay, everything let me remove and save it. Now let me commit this. Okay, so I'm just now building the storefront application again, so it automatically again the pipeline should run. Okay, if you go storefront pipeline, yeah, it started triggering. Now you can see it will again build, create a new image with new tag, then it will try to push into the um, it will update the values.yaml file for each of the environment. Okay, then we'll see, we'll just approve, we'll go one step one. Okay, so that will check the update whether it is reflecting or not. Okay, so we'll move one step, one environment to another environment. Okay, okay, let me go. You can see now everything is synced, right? It takes some time. I think it's taking 3 minutes to syncing this. Yeah, so here, so initially we deployed it from the Docker hub, then we changed it to our Azure Content Registry through pipeline, and Argo CD synced that one. Okay, now what we are doing, we are just deploying a new version of the storefront to deploy into the with a new tag, and it should sync. The Argo CD should sync once the repository got updated. Okay, so it is done. If you see now, storefront, right now it created another version 658. Okay, if we come, but that still it is not available here because it is still pointing 657 because it is still not completed. Yeah, it is done in the dev environment. Now let's go to here and now sync it. Yeah, you can see 658. So now we also see whether this is changing or not. Okay, now if we go to the here, you can see if you go to storefront. Okay, here we can see what image ID it is taking. Where is that image ID? Yeah, still it is pointing 657. Okay, so it is not updated. It will take some time. I think 3 minutes it will take. So no need to wait. Let me sync it so that we'll save some time. But it will do in 3 seconds. Yeah, you can see it is synced here. If you now go and see here, right, it was 658. Where it is? Yeah, you can see here. Now if you go to here, let me again, since, and here if you sync it also, we can see, yeah, it comes 658. Now if you do it again, call this one, right? Now you can see it got changed, this one. But now if you go to the test environment, because in test environment we have not deployed it till, right? It is waiting. I have not approved it. But now if we check in test environment, what is happening, we'll see. Okay, get spc minus n test. Let's use this IP 80. Okay, now here you can see here the older version is still running. The older version is still running, but in dev environment the new version is started running. In test it is taking the old version. In production also it will be old version. Now suppose you want to push, because it is our dev environment, so now want to test it in test environment, then what we can do, I need to approve this so that it should push into the, I mean it will update the repository, the image ID in the repository for the test.values.com. Okay, so that again the Argo CD will sync it. Let me approve this. It will start deploying. If you see here, it is started now. It is starting deploying, and it will update the repository. It shows, right? Now if you go here, return. Now if you go here to the test values.com and sync it, yeah, it got changed 658. Okay, now here if we come in the test, right, in test environment, if you go to the application and select test namespace, okay, and if you go here, I think it is not synced. Okay, it will take some time. That sync also we can reduce to 60 seconds or whatever you want, but for that we need to change the Argo CD config file. Okay, so for that Okay, just wait for some time. Let me check whether it took that 658. No, still it is 657. Okay. Okay, since it's taking 3 minutes, we'll not wait for that. Let me sync it. Let me synchronize it. Now it took 658. Okay, done it. So now what we can do, since we synced it, so now the latest version is running in test environment. If we'll do the same call here, let me again do this call. Now we can see it got changed. Okay, let me deploy it into the again go and approve for the prod environment. Okay, let it review and approve it. It will take some time. This time we'll try to see whether in prod environment it is syncing or not. We'll spend some time. It is 657. Okay. Okay, it is done. Let's wait for some time. We'll check. We'll verify this whether the Argo CD updated that image ID to 658 or not. Okay. And suppose you want to change that config. I mean, now it is taking 3 minutes. It is 180 seconds now. So if you want to make to 60 seconds, that we can do also using the Argo CD config map. Okay, there you have to mention this timeout reconciliation to 60 second. Okay, and you need to execute this few command that I have mentioned here. Okay, you can go and use this. So what you have to do is we have to apply this one, whatever this config file, Argo CD config file that we modified the time to 60 seconds. Then we have to do this rollout, restart, deploy Argo CD this and restart the stateful set to this. Then it will reflect. So the syncing time it will decrease to 66 seconds instead of 3 minutes. Now let's check whether it got updated. No, still 657. Wait for a few minutes. So what we learned in this series is uh, in the previous we have done, we deployed uh, to the Kubernetes using Helm chat and Argo CD. So we have created 5 Argo CD application in that case, and we have deployed into only one environment. But in this case, we have deployed into multiple environments by creating only one Argo CD application set application. Okay, here we are using matrix generator so that it will create 15 different Argo CD application internally and deploy that to cluster. Okay, and if you see that path I have mentioned here. Okay, and one thing you have to remember is the name I'm just putting path base name. So base name is nothing. Path base name means it is the service name itself. I mean, it may be your order config, rabbit message queue or storefront. Okay, but the path, if you mention here, it will take both. I mean, multi environment helm chart, then slash config or order or product. So it will take the full path. Okay, and the values file what I mentioned here is environment values.yaml. Okay, so it may be dev values.yaml or test values.yaml or prod values.yaml. Okay, and namespace I'm taking dev, or it may be your test or prod. Okay, so it will create implicitly all this different combination of deployments. Okay, similarly in my if you go to the uh, pipeline, right here also the application is, if you go here, I'm just mentioning environment values.yaml. Okay, and I have just put a condition here. If not config, then do this, because for config um, there is no values.yaml because I'm not using uh, the same configuration I'm using for all the environment. So there is no separate values.ml for each of the environment. You can see here in configure, I don't have any separate. Yeah, here I have added this, but it is not required. I mean, just I have added here. With here, Edward. So I have not, yeah, so it is not required. Um, simply I'm doing this one. But if you add also, it should work. If you config, if you not put this condition, it should work also. Okay. Now let's see whether it's synced or not. No, 656 still is there. Whether we'll see in repository whether it's duplicated, prod and moment 657, but if we sync it, yeah, it is synced here. In repository, it's already updated. Yeah, I think it has got updated now. Yeah, it have got updated. See, so it's taking time, 3 minutes. Now, if we want to see it in prod environment, also we can do okay, get sbc minus n prod. Then we'll use this IP colon 80. So you can see it is taking this, the whatever the latest changes of the image that now it is running. So what we understood, right? We can using this pipeline, we can put the um, get. So that means it need the approval. Okay, so it keep on changing the repository for that particular environment only. Okay, so that way, so if we can push it into the dev environment first, then to test environment, we will test everything. If everything is working, then we can push into the prod environment. Okay, so this way we can do automate everything. So here you can see we automated everything, right? So whenever if we are doing any changes to our application, it will trigger the pipeline, it will create the image with latest tag, and then the next stage, it will update the repository, and Argo CD will listen to that repository, and if anything changes, then it will pull that and deploy into the cluster. Okay, so everything now got it automated. So by default, it will deploy into dev environment, but in order to deploy into test and prod, we have put the gate so that it required for the approval. Okay, so I think you got this how Argo CD works and how we deployed it into multiple environment using Helm chat. So next class we will learn how we can do the same thing using Kustomize. Okay, and Kustomize with Argo CD. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. Please like the video and share it, and also subscribe it. And yeah, so thank you for viewing the lesson, and um, bye bye. Thank you.